Adventure Tripper. We are an online marketplace where adventure seekers like all of us here can conveniently discover and securely book active adventure to go on to with the local guides directly. And a little bit more about myself. This is Adventure Tripper is actually like a passion project for me. I am an avid adventurer myself. I love hiking. So actually in 2018 and 2019, I took like a 1 year break from my professional career. I to do photography and also travel solo around the world. And um, at the same time, like I also love hiking, as I mentioned. So like I've hiked several treks in New Zealand where I spent 1 month in, including the Kepler trek, which was awesome. A few in Peru, several in Indonesia, because I'm Indonesian. And I think like my achievement right now so far is Kilimanjaro. And of course, like Nepal is also high in my bucket list. So I'm super excited to hear more from our local guides here. And yeah, I am currently like also actually a senior program manager at a fintech company, but you know, really looking forward to get on this, to take a vacation and get on a guided hike to Nepal as soon as possible when this is over. And so yeah, this chat we just wanted to be like a casual chat with our local guides, and you know, I'm well, I'm sure everybody knows that COVID-19 is still going on really strongly, like in multiple parts of the world. Things are slowly opening up, but we still have very limited ability to travel. So we thought that it would be great if we could virtually explore new destinations and learn about them directly, so that we can, you know, get all the information and hopefully can start planning for a hiking trip as soon as things open up. Having said that, however, like a lot of our guides are really impacted by COVID, unfortunately, and especially the ones that are in Nepal right now. They are not able to make a living because they have to go back to their villages due to the lockdown. At this time, like we actually have like these two experts with us. So Deepak and Chet, they started out as guides, and now they run local trekking companies, like employing the guides, and supporting like several of these, providing like employment for the local community, basically. So with that, I'm gonna actually start to introduce one of our guides. Chet, could you please introduce yourself and tell us, you know, why you do what you do, and how long have you been doing it?
Hello, namaste everyone. This is Mr. Chet from Kathmandu. Obviously, I'm from Gorkha, closer to Annapurna and Manaslu, trekking region. Trekking is my, the profession now, is my passion. I born and grew up in Gorkha, but moved over to Kathmandu once I completed my school study. And the moment I started joining trekking, as my career, and obviously I started trekking as a trekking porter, assistant guide, and then the guide and trekking leader, and now a travel planner in a company. So once I started doing a trek, I start liking it because we are from the mountains, from the villages, the nature, cultural areas. So at this profession, I got to speak with the people from all over the world. I'm telling them what we have, what, the life, the culture, the nature that we have. So it's my passion. Once I started doing a trekking, I start liking it. It's my passion. And it's just a great opportunity for me to meet people all over the world. And these days, I started my trekking career at 2001. So it's a long time back. These days, we are very much responsible in a couple of aspects to make sure that we carry out our, the trips in Nepal safe, environmental, zero, impact, and we wanted to make sure that we use locals to in the work with us, the real local from the rural countryside area, so that we are creating a job for locals and we are giving the local economy a extra fit, the support. So it's a great country, and we are here to look after all of you. Please come to enjoy the Nepal nature, mountain, our Himalayas, our culture, and we'll look after you here. Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Chad. So you've been in the business for almost 20 years. It's super long. I could definitely
Yes.
see, yeah, could definitely see your passion for the outdoors, and I'm sure you love showing the beauty of Nepal to everyone. That's awesome.
Yes, we do that. That's what we like it.
Thank you. And then I'm gonna ask Deepak to introduce himself as well. Yeah, Deepak, same question. Like, how long have you been doing this, and why do you do it?
Hi, Namaste. I'm Deepak. I'm also from Gorkha district, but now I live in Kathmandu. Once I moved in Kathmandu after school. I started as a porter in 1998. Become a guide within a year. I studying as a porter. Used to work as a guide and then as a tour operator for a tour company, and started my own company, own trekking company in 2012. When I moved to Kathmandu, there were there were not enough the opportunity to get work. Very hard to finding a work uh, at that time. One of my relatives got me a job with a trekking company as a porter. That's how I got into guiding. I love meeting people from all over the world, uh, and showing them our beautiful country. Uh, uh, but more importantly, I want to create opportunity for our local peoples in Nepal, because that Nepal is poor country. We don't have enough opportunities. There are so many the locals. They move to out of Nepal, like a Gulf country, India, for work. So I want to keep them in Nepal. I want to make more opportunity. I want to create more job for them and keep them in Nepal, and I want to support locals.
Thank you so much,
This is
Deepak.
this.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it's really inspiring that you started as a porter and now you're able to run your own business and employ other people to be your guides. That's amazing.
Well, yeah.
Um,
This is how I want to promote Nepal.
awesome. Um, all right. So I do have a list of questions that I would like to ask you, because like I actually have never been to Nepal myself, and I have a lot of questions about which track do I choose, how to prepare, and how to plan all that stuff. So I'm gonna start like asking you like about all these tracks, and at the same time, everybody who's like on the call right now, feel free to also send us your question. Like just write it in the chat, and then we will have time at the end to answer your questions as well. All right. So I'm gonna start with Deepak first, right
Yes.
now. Deepak, what is your favorite track in Nepal?
Well, Nepal is like the adventurous country. There are so many trek and hiking routes in Nepal. Some short and some long. I have done almost all the trekking routes of Nepal, but the Everest Base Camp is my favorite trek. I think it is the true adventure, the real adventure. Uh, well, there's a because of Mount Everest. Obviously, there's a Mount Everest, one of the highest and tallest mountain of the world.
Mhm.
There are a few others, the tallest mountains where you can see on this trek. Uh, you got to experience the world famous Sherpa culture during this very scenic trek. You will enjoy the local Sherpa tradition and hospitality. You can shock into local culture and custom enriched with a old Buddhist religion. You will be trekking across the old heritage site within Sagarmatha National Park with exotic flora and fauna, with all highest mountain, Mount Everest, Mount Lhotse, Mount Soyu, and range uh, of Zenic peak. You will enjoy Everest view with the panoramic of high gained mountains, both from air during the flight as well trek to destination overnight stop with room facing view of beautiful scenic. It means the from rooms, from your trek, from your air, you can enjoying scene and sceneries of this trek. Well,
I think, yeah, that's awesome. We are also trying to show the map actually for our viewers as well, so that they can follow along with your description.
it is it
And
is it is a different landscape from starting to end. The scenic trek takes you around a scenic area of Namse, Khunjung, and Khunde on a magnificent stop of Tangbose with its uh, colorful monastery surrounding within green, enhancing woodland, and
awesome.
it is. It is not that long tour, it takes only 12 days. You can do it between 12 to 15 days. Based on experience, anything longer than that, people doesn't enjoy it so much.
That's beautiful. I think, yeah, Preeti is showing us some photos from the Everest Base Camp trek.
Yeah, this is
Mhm. What is that? What is that temple, Deepak? Like, are there a lot of
this is
temples along
called
the way?
this is not a temple. This is called Soten. It's like the monument.
Oh wow.
Well, this area is dominated by the Buddhism, the religion. So
Hmm.
on this trek, there are so many Soten like this along the trek.
That's cool. That's really beautiful. So, how much of elevation change would that be from like Kathmandu to the Everest Base Camp?
Well, there will be about 5 to 800 meters changes. So Kathmandu is 1,350 meters. The base camp is like 5,365 meters, which is about like 40 like a 44,000 meters difference in totals.
Wow. That's yeah, that looks really amazing. Thank you so much for that overview
Most
of the
welcome.
Everest Base Camp. Now I'm gonna ask actually for Chet. What about you? Which trek in Nepal would you recommend the most, and why?
Well, I like all the treks, but
With the country so beautiful, I would be too.
but
Yeah.
if I need to, choose my best trek, I would say Annapurna Shaki trek, and I have a couple of the reason behind that. The Annapurna Shaki trek is a loop trek, so you are trekking every day the different region, the different mountain, the valley, and it is the best scenic trek. You will be walking in a green valley, cultivated lands, through the riverside, local, the people, houses. As you go a little bit higher up, you are now walking in a middle hill of Nepal with the big valleys, big hills, the great forested land. And as you go further up, you are now reaching to a tree line areas with the pine forest, and go a little bit over to the major the places like Manang or Upper Pisang, which you could see in the map. It's like more dry land areas, and then with all the dry, the hills, and then the big mountains, like big Himalayas, over 7,000-meter high, and some of the like Annapurna Falls is 8,000-meter high. So you could see the big, the snow-capped the mountains in front of you. Now you are in a little bit of the higher altitude, so all the dry hills, dry areas, and has a wonderful landscape then. And obviously from Manang, it has got some extra excursion that you can do for the people, add it to a day hike to Ice Lake, add it to a day hike to some of the, the glacier sections. So it's just an amazing part of the Himalayas. As you go ahead, you are now, leading to Thorongla, which is the 5,416 meter from sea level. And you are now walking 2 days higher in 4,000 meters. So obviously this is a high altitude walk, a little bit of challenge, but completely a great mountain in front of you, which is another, great things to be at this part of the Himalayas. So once you cross over Thorongla, which is the 5,416 meter, one of the highest pass of the world. This is the highest pass of the world. So once you cross, obviously, to the top, you start quite early in the morning, reach to the top for 5 hours. And then there you could see the amazing, the view of mountains, the landscapes, the valley to a Mustang, and it's just amazing, the cross. Once you start walking down to Muktinath Valley, it's all the way down, the big drop, but the great scenic place. It's like all the dry landscapes, as if it's like a mini Tibet. When you talk about Tibet, people have a feeling how the Tibet would look like. And the Mustang Valley is like a mini Tibet because it connects you to the Tibet border directly, after Mustang and then the Tibet. So it's just amazing landscape valley. Once you walk down to Mustang, then Kagbeni, Jomsung or Marfa for those next 2 to 3 days. It's great valleys with Kaligandaki riverside, all the dry hills, wonderful Thakali people, and it's just amazing land. And as you come down from Larjung onwards to Gasa or Tatopani, now you come back to a greenery again. So the great greeneries, and then back to a very local civilized areas like, the cultural places again. And then finally, when you are there up to the place called Poon Hill or the Warepani, you are in a rhododendron forest, which is a national flower in Nepal, the big forest, and then the big, the hills with dense forest areas, and we take you to the Poon Hill. That give you the big view of Annapurna, which is one of the biggest. Annapurna is 1,091 meter high. The big of Dhaulagiri, 8,167 meter, and all the central Himalayan range of Nepal. So you could see the complete, the Himalayas of the central Himalaya from Poon Hill, and which is not that high. It's just 3,210 meter. So it's closer to Pokhara. So we will have a wonderful sunrise view from Poon Hill. And then basically in 2 days with the cultural and, the nature walk, we will be reaching back to Pokhara. Pokhara is a fantastic place to be in a lake, in a civilization after being in a mountain for a while. The place to hang up, place to, to parties for trekkers, like a proper trekking.
Is there a bar?
You come back to Kathmandu. So basically, if you see the Annapurna, the Sakhi trek, it has a three special character. One is you are trekking in a loop. So every day you are trekking a different valley, different village, different landscape. So you always have a great interest to walk every day because you don't know what comes the next till you complete your trek. The second thing is it starts from very low altitude. Obviously from Kathmandu, we drive to Beshi Shahar, which is about 1,000 meters from sea level. And then we start walking every day, gradual up and, many up and downs, but gradual uphills. So you trek for about 5 to 6 days to reach Manang, which is 3,400 meter high from sea level. So you don't have to worry about the acclimatization. You don't have to worry, oh, I get to the altitude quicker and I will have a problem with the altitude sickness. It's not that, because you start your trek from lower valleys and we take you slow and steady while enjoying the nature and trek. So acclimatize wise is great. And then you are walking in a nature, the landscape, the local valleys, local people, and cultural, the part of this region. The final top is you are walking in a high Himalayas. So you have experience of the Himalayas walk. And then once you do that, you have experience of walking down to the, again, a landscapes valley.
Yeah,
so while we say nature or landscape is completely different.
Yeah, you have been like doing a really good job in painting like what the trek is like, that even before Preeti showed the photos, I could like picture it in my head. It looks really amazing.
Oh, great, exactly. Yeah.
And you touched on like, I think there's a question from a couple of the audience that about altitude. The question is like, how do we best prepare for the altitude? Because a lot of these treks are very high. Some are like 5,000 meters and above, or like 15,000 feet. Maybe I'll ask Deepak first. Like, Deepak, how would you prepare for the altitude for these treks in Nepal? Deepak, do you have insights on how you can prepare for the altitude?
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Yes. Can I get the question, please?
Yeah, we were wondering how you can prepare for the altitude in Nepal, for the high altitude to 5,000 meters.
Well, based on Everest base camp trekking, Everest base camp trekking is a high altitude trekking. Altitude wise, it is a harder trekking, but you should have to prepare yourself very well. Well, actually, we people born in Nepal, we don't have that much problem with the altitude. But if people from the different part of the world, from the low level, they must have to have very good train. They must have to have very good experience about the altitude. Well, you may not have enough like in the high altitude mountain for acclimatize there. To acclimatize, you have to be in Nepal, and you have to have like the acclimatized days in mountains in Kathmandu as well. To prepare for that, I can do like a couple of months hiking, or like a gym training, or like a jogging in the morning. If you do that, that really helps for you, like physically. But for the altitude, you should have to be here in Nepal, and you should have to take at least 1 or 2 days in Kathmandu just to acclimatize. And once we fly to Lukla, we start. The Lukla is 2,800 meters. So we started our trekking from Lukla. So once we started our trekking, we walk very slowly, because we should have to adjust with the altitude. In Namche Bazaar, we have acclimatized days. So that days we're not staying at the same place. We hike up to like a 3,900 meters, which is about like a 500 meters higher than Namche Bazaar, and get back to Namche and staying there. This is for altitude adjustment. So mostly we have to prepare for good food, walk slowly, enough rest, enough drink. That really helps for the altitude. Most people, we advise using Diamox. Diamox is a altitude tablet that really helps for you, but it has side effect. Once you use it, it has like it makes your body dry, or like a dehydration problem. For that, you must need to drink a lot of waters, more than like a 3 liters of waters each day. So once you use the Diamox, it really helps to adjust with the altitude. Once you drink enough waters, once you have enough rest, once you have enough food, enough drinks. But most important things is walking slowly, follow the guidelines, and enough rest, enough food. That is most important for the altitude. And we advise people using garlic soup for the altitude. Garlic soup is like a like a kind of local medicine you can get each and every tea houses. So they make well, in Nepal we use garlic for each and every food, like the all vegetables, lentils, whatever you cooked, we use garlic. So if you use garlic, you may not need to use Diamox, but we always advise use Diamox as well, because it is medicine advised by the doctor as well. So if you use garlic, that really helps. That keeps your body warm. You don't have to worry that that much about the altitude. So most important things for you, if you worry too much about the altitude, you may get psychologically you may get the altitude. So that actually forget about thinking about the altitude, and the enjoying scene and sceneries. That really helps for you.
Thank you so much. So I think like if I were to summarize, it would be walk slowly, steady
Yes.
but slowly, and like
Yes.
take time to acclimate. And for some
Yes.
people, you
Yes.
may want to take Diamox, and also eat a lot of garlic. I didn't know about that.
Well, garlic is a local medicine. You can get garlic soup, or garlic. Mostly people use garlic soup. They you can get from the local tea houses.
Yeah.
So Everest Base Camp is like the like a tea house based trekking nowadays. Each and every places has tea houses. Well, they have like the like a modernized tea houses as well, and like the basic tea houses also. This is we've been talking about basic tea houses. So each and every tea houses are nice and clean, and they serve all type of food.
Yeah. Got it.
And the most important things, I told you that food, rest, and the work slowly.
Yep.
Normally we don't advise you drink alcohol after like Namche Bazaar. Namche Bazaar is like the big town of this trek. So where you can get like a all the trekking equipment, like a internet, bar, whatever you want, you can get it there. But after Namche Bazaar, we don't advise using like a alcohol. Alcohol is not permitted on this trek.
Got it. Okay, sounds good. And yeah, that's good to know about garlic. I was going to say that in Peru, what we were given was the coca leaves, which is pretty interesting for tea, for tea. And okay, Deepak, actually, one follow-up question: when is the best time of the year to do this trek, and what is the weather conditions like?
Well, you can do this trek all around the year, but the September to December, March to May, we consider as a best time of the year, because this time of the year we don't expect that much rain and cloud. So normally we get a clear weather, good view of this time of the year. You can do this trek June, July also, but that time of the year. Flight to Lukla affected by the rain. Up to Namche Bazaar we may get a lot of rain, but after Namche Bazaar we don't get that much rain. So that you can do this trek in June, July, but there will be a problem of the flight to Lukla.
Got it. Thank you. What about moving back to the Annapurna Secret Track? Chet, what about, is that the same about the best time to track in Annapurna as well?
Yeah, basically, with our, geographical condition, the Himalayas that we have, our, the weather change throughout the year, we have basically the two best seasons where we have a good weather, wonderful visibility, and clear, the blue sky. So, and these are the time that every treks usually, goes through. For the best experience. So as Deepak says, the spring starts from March till to May. So this is the 3 full month. The weather is fantastic and everything is clear. So, people want to come to do a big treks, and if they don't have a great view in front of them, it's like nothing. So we wanted to make sure that they come to the right weather time of the year to do a trek. And then again, the autumn will be from September to, end of November. December can still go as long as the weather stays good and no snowfall. So these are the same time frame for Annapurna Circuit trek as well. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you can also come to trek at December. Sometime December, people, like, I have the experience that some people love trekking in December because cold is not a problem for, you know, half of the Americans because they live in a very cold place. And as long as you have a proper gear and if you love to walk in the snow, December sometimes gives you a wonderful experience walking in a snow hill.
Got it. Okay. Thank you so much for all that really good information. Actually, I know that some of us in the audience, and including myself, like sometimes want to get off the beaten path a little bit more. I only know about the Everest Base Camp and Annapurna. Are there any other treks that you would recommend? Chet, maybe we can start with you this time.
Okay. Well, basically, you know, we have so many treks in Nepal. You can make several hundred treks in a very different mountain valleys that we have.
Yeah.
But Annapurna region, Everest region are the two famous, you know, the trekking region that we have. And everyone has, you know, if you Google it, you always have information about these two regions. So everyone will be like, oh, if you're trekking in Nepal, it's Everest or it's Annapurna. But these are not the only one, you know, only two treks that we have. We have so many others. So we can also do a trek from very, you know, lower valleys to very high valleys. We can also customize trek from like couple of days trekking in lower valleys at the nature. So you don't have to worry about your fitness. You don't have to worry about high altitude walk. You can just relax walking in the nature, you know, meeting the people.
Yeah.
And so a few days trek.
What if you just choose one, your favorite, like off the beaten track?
Well, obviously, if you see a little longer off the beaten track, which we go for about 2 weeks, my favorite is Manasalu trekking, which is just the amazing trek. It is completely off the beaten, you know, started quite late, you know, operation. So it's untouched culture, you know, untouched, you know, the nature, the pristine nature. And it's completely a remote valley, so you don't see many trekkers, you know, trekking through that region. It's just the amazing landscape, you know, great flora and fauna in the region. The people of that region is like, you know, amazing. They when you look their culture, when you look the people there, they looks like a art, you know, they live a life as a art because with all the ornaments, jewelries, you know, it's like that. It's just an amazing place. And it has so many up and downs walk in a nature, in a valley. So it's a little bit physically challenging. You have to walk 6 to 7 hours every day. But it's again a great combination of the culture, nature, you know, the cultural people, and finally the big, you know, the mountains in front of you. Again, the trek starts from lower valleys, gradual go with the full acclimatization, finally reaching to the higher valleys to cross over to, you know, the Larkela Pass, and then it come down to the starting point of Annapurna, and it, you know, trek down to the Beshishar and come back. So it's just amazing remote trek that I would recommend. It's just a great. It's a little bit extra challenge. You need to be prepared for that.
Wow, I'm seeing the photos right now. It's so stunning. And you said this was like
have many people.
2 weeks,
you
right?
usually have very less, you know, the trekkers. So you are in a nature with all the locals. You don't see much tourist as Everest or Annapurna, you know, that has it. So it's completely remote. But
Good to know.
saying remote, less facilities. You have to understand that, you know. Yeah. If you go to Everest, you usually have a best food, you usually have a best accommodations, you know, the mountain guest house. But if you go for, you know, the Manaslu, you are staying with the local hearts, you are staying with the local family. In fact, it's experience. It's not a luxury, but it's experience of the nature and life.
Yeah, I think the local experience is something that some people would love to have as well. Moving on, actually, I want to ask Deepak, sorry. I wanted to ask Deepak as well. Is there any other track that you would recommend other than the Everest Base Camp?
Well, as you know that Nepal is like a country for real adventure. There are so many treks and trekking routes, a longer route and shorter route, more adventurous, less adventurous. Well, beside all this trek, I really recommend Gokyo Valley trekking. This is not that difficult as Everest Base Camp, Manaslu, and Annapurna trekking. This is less difficult, and this is like a story going on, and it has less working hours at this day. It is like a wide valley. It has a beautiful lake, and the Gokyori is one of the best viewpoint place from where you can see the Mount Everest from base to top, and there are so many other mountains from where you can see visible, and it is also good viewpoint for sunrise as well. And this is also tea house based trekking. Well, less crowded trekking. It is not that crowded as on the Annapurna circuit and Everest Base Camp.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is I really recommend. And if you come for this trek after like a monsoon in autumn, you see a lot of the different type of flowers in and around the, I mean, it's not in the lake, around the lakes in Gokyo Valley.
Wow. This looks like a photographer's paradise. um, what is that animal there in the lake?
This is called yak.
Oh, the yak. That's awesome. um, Thank you so much. Like, I think it's good to know that we have obviously a lot of alternatives than the famous Everest Base Camp and the Annapurna Trek. So,
Well,
well,
Nepal is not enough for one time. You should have to come many times. So once you come many times, you always have opportunity to experience different type of trekking, different level of trekking. Different culture, different tribe of peoples.
yeah, for sure. So I'm seeing that thank you so much. I'm seeing there's a couple of questions here, and which is also the question that I had. So, how do you um, how do you recommend that we prepare for these treks gear wise? Like, what do we need to bring, and what would be provided usually? Could you comment a little bit on that? Um, with Let's start with Chet first.
All right, namaste. Well, gear is the most important part when you're planning a trek to the Himalayas, because you have to keep yourself well prepared. So basically, to start with the shoes, you need to have a proper hiking shoes, a trekking shoes, to make sure that it's waterproof. You have a good socks to make sure that your feet keeps you warm, and then you need to have a good the walking trousers, a walking t-shirt for lower valleys, because usually everywhere as you start a trek, for the first few days it's quite warm, so you can walk with the t-shirts, and then the regular the trousers. And as you go higher up, now you need to have some extra layers, so basically a long sleeve or mid-weight jacket, and then you also need to have a proper the trouser with wind and waterproof, so that it protect you from any the natural the water, rain, or the wind. So you also need to have, as you go higher up, you also need to have a very warm layer, what we call inner like thermal layer. So you need to have a top to bottom thermal couple of layers. One can go top to another one, so that if you feel cold, you can have one layer on and another layer on. And you need to have now a proper gloves for your hands to make sure that it doesn't get cold, with the like a fleece gloves to the the higher the bigger gloves as well. You need to have now, because you are higher up in the valley, so it's quite altitude and strong sun, so you need to make sure that you have a sunglasses to keep your eye protected from the very the bright snow the vision, and the proper creams to make sure that you don't get sunburn. You need to have a hat, you need to have obviously, as we are there in a mountain, you need to go, it's cold, you need to go restroom at the middle of night, or some of the treks in Annapurna or in Everest, it starts quite early in the morning. So you need to have a headlamp to protect you, the walk in any require, the darkness. So, and other gear that we need, even if we're staying with the guest house, most of the places compared to some of the places still requires to have a camping go, like Upper Dolpo and the places like that. But most of the trekking region that we have is staying with the guest house, but you still need to have a sleeping bag. So we provide you a sleeping bag that gives you a comfort sleep. We provide you a jacket. So if you don't have a big, the down jacket that keeps you warm for negative 15 or 20 degrees centigrade, we will provide you that. So you don't need to worry about that. We provide you a trekking duffel bag, so you can come with your suitcase or whatever the bags that you have. When you arrive to Kathmandu, we have a briefing. We explain you about all the things about the trek, practical information about the trek. Change your bags to our duffel bag, which is a waterproof bags to go to the mountain. So we provide you that. We provide you, the trekking map, so you can see actually where you're going. We provide you like a adventure trekking certificate once you complete that. So this is what we provide. But what you need to have is a proper, the boots, the trekking boots, enough layer of socks, enough layers of, the thermals from top to bottom, minimum couple of extra, the slippers, because you cannot use the same clothes every day. You sweat every day. So you need to have enough pairs to change yourself. And you need to have a mid-weight jacket, so that when it's not very cold, but quite cold at the places, you can use the mid-weight jacket to keep you warm. And you need to have obviously all the proper medication of your previous, the health issues, because sometimes you may used to have a migraine headache, which is not an altitude headache, but that's maybe the one you had all the time in your life, and it's not at the moment, but it can come back when you struggle at altitude. So we recommend you to come with all the personal medication. Obviously, we provide you a first aid medication, and then with our guides, we will have a Diamox, which is, we use it as it required as we go to the altitude. So this we provide. But other gears is very important.
Thank you so much. That is super helpful. And I'm sure people are like taking notes with like all the personal gear we need to take. All right. So there's also a question that I see come up twice here. What if there's an emergency, if there's any injury, what happens in that case? How do you get medical support basically when you're injured on the mountain? Maybe this one is for Deepak.
Well, people who travel in Nepal, we always advise them taking insurance for like a travel insurance, and insurance for like a emergency evacuation. Let's say people got injured or like got altitude problem when they are in the mountains. That case, we have if they got injured, there is like two options. One is bring them back by like a porters or horse, or by emergency like evacuation by helicopter. These are the options for the injured people, because there is no proper hospital, like there is no any like the treatment in the mountains. Well, if people got altitude problem, like altitude sickness, and they are not able to carry on, so there is another few options. One option is trek back down to the lower altitude, and the other option, if they are not able to walk back, if they don't have an insurance, they paid extra for the helicopter, or if they are not able to pay extra for the helicopter, they can use like a horse or like a local porters carry back down to the lower altitude. Okay, but we always advise them you should have to have like a proper like the insurance for emergency evacuation, because if we do late in the mountains after altitude problem, there will be a very less chance. So that we should have to do evacuation very fast, very quick. So the insurance is very important, and we will be guiding for the insurance company, or with the guide like the present condition. Then we do like a further work.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Um, yes, I think like so what's most important is to get a travel insurance in case there
Mhm.
is like something really bad that happened to
Yes,
you during the
yes,
trip.
yes,
Got it.
yes, yes.
Um, I see a couple comments about additional links, info, gear list. Yes, we will. This is actually on our site as well, and we can send to everyone later. Next question. I had a question like to me privately, like is 2021 a good question to do the Everest Base Camp? Deepak, is that, what do you think about 2021 Everest Base Camp?
Well, it is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, of course, obviously it is.
Yeah, I think thank you. And like I chat like for you as well for Annapurna and Manasalu.
Well, obviously, 2021 should be already a perfect the time to plan the Annapurna trek. But with this the pandemic COVID-19, you don't know how long it will go. Weather-wise, we have no problem. Management-wise, organization-wise, we have no problem to carry any treks anytime. Even now, we can run the treks, but because of the COVID-19, we don't want to take a risk of someone having problems.
Yeah.
So we have the government have temporarily suspended all the trekking for up to the September. But as long as the COVID-19 will be fine, then we are ready to bring people to Annapurna. And we expecting 2021 will be the great year for us because
Yeah.
people cannot travel 2020 because of this unfortunate, the COVID-19 issues,
Right.
the cases.
And
But we hope 2021 will be the perfect one. So it's great for Annapurna.
Yeah, and I think like a lot of people probably want to spend more time outdoors and choose to go for like hiking trips instead of going to big cities. Because outdoors
Yeah.
are a lot safer in terms of like
Yes.
COVID-19.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah. I think I would rephrase it because I also see a couple other questions about preparation. How many months ahead do you need to prepare in terms of like contacting the guides, like booking tickets, or like getting the permits to go to the mountains? Deepak, could you start with this question?
Well, advanced booking is always good because we have enough time to prepare properly. But we also take like a last minute booking. Taking last minute booking means the things we will get even for the Lukla flight or booking hotel booking in Kathmandu, we will be always in waiting list. But if you book your trek on advance, we'll book your flight to Lukla, hotel booking in advance, which means we always get the first opportunity, first priority for this flight, for the hotel booking. So we always advise like a couple of months ahead will be good for the booking.
Got it. Okay, is that the same with you? I guess that's the same with Annapurna and Manasalu as well?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Okay, got it. I see a couple questions for food. Food is always very important for us. So
yes.
the question is around like, do we need to bring our own food, or like, will there be support staff to help cook the food? Yeah, could you tell us more about what we will be eating and how?
Is this for me or for Chet?
Chet, you can answer this one.
All right, no problem. Well, most of the treks that we have in Nepal these days, which is a fortunate, we are staying with the guest house. So every, the region, if you see Annapurna, if you see Everest, if you see Manaslu or Langtang or the trekking region as well, we have a loss management committee who usually, support guest house with the trained cooks, so that the guest house, whoever is starting a guest house in local areas, they can have one cook who can come to a training center that is funded by the Department of National Park. They can take part in a cook training, and then they know how to make food for Western people, Western quality, Western taste. And then they go back to all these local, the guest house, and they are now a cook. And mostly, the guest house owners are usually the cook as well, because it's their own guest house, it's their own local business. So they do everything, you know. So food wise, you have very hygienic and proper, you know, the cooked food, which is very important issues for everyone, because if you have a food poisoning as you go, with the full strength, you would still not be able to go, because food poisoning can, you know, lower your energy for several days. So so food is always a big concern for everyone, and we have well-trained cook to provide you a good food along the way. So we don't take any food with us. That's one thing you have to say. Well, you can take some, like, you know, some people love some dry meat, some dry, you know, the nuts and things like that. Then you can take those things as a support for your energy. Chocolates and things like that. But the main meals, we are taking it from the guest house. And they cook it, you know, every day for us. And basically, you are staying in a guest house, so you will have a breakfast at that guest house before you start your walk. The lunch will be in between in a tea hut, so the choices of lunch will be very less, because you stop somewhere in a tea house, and then, you know, you don't even have a long time to wait for your food. So you just grab whatever the quickly made food is available in 1 hour and continue your trek to the destination of that day. But usually staying with the bigger guest house, you have a good choice of food.
Thank you. Got it. Sounds delicious. I want to make sure that I have time for this question, because a few people have asked this. Like, it's around fitness level, and how do you know you are ready for a trek in Nepal with like all the high mountains? Yes, how do you know you're ready for that? Like, Deepa, could you answer that question?
Well, actually, you know, it is very hard to say that actually your body fitness and my body fitness is totally different. But actually, if you're ready mentally, obviously you can ready physically also. Well, if you have done, like, you know, the while training back home, like hiking, like a couple of months hiking, that really, you know, feel that I can do it, you know. All that you know, the energy comes from, you know, the your guidelines also. And you know, like, you know, some of the guide, you know, they always talking about negative things about the hiking, and you know, the like, you know, the walking. And people, they feel that, oh, maybe it is too difficult, that I cannot do it, you know, maybe I should stop here. But all that depends, you know, also from food, also from guide, also from, you know, the your like, you know, the physical, like a background, you know.
Yeah. Thank you. And I think actually for this question, I'm gonna share a little bit about my experience. I've never been in Nepal, but I've climbed Kilimanjaro, which is almost 6,000 meters, or 18,000 feet, 19,000 feet. I think, like, just to share with you, like, I'm not like extremely fit. Like, I probably exercise like 3 times a week if I have time. And but I do go, like, I do like HIIT training. At that time I did a lot of Muay Thai, and I was able to, and then I took like 2 trainings, just with a backpack on 2 smaller trips, just like overnight trip, 2 days long. And then, like, for Kilimanjaro, like, I survived. So, you know, you don't need to be extremely fit. I'm sure that if I can do it, a lot of people can do it too. And like, take Diamox just in case. That's what I would suggest.
Well, Diamox is very important, you know. If you use Diamox proper way, you definitely get it, you know. Some people, they start using Diamox like a from the beginning. Some people, they start using Diamox once they start using altitude problem. So all that depends on how you use it. Actually, you know, if you use Diamox from the beginning, I mean, you know, the like a 2 days advance, 2 days to over 3,000 meters, that really helps for you. But if you use Diamox after altitude problem, it doesn't work properly, you know. So that Diamox also, some people, they use as a paracetamol. Once they get their headache, they use it, but it doesn't work properly, you know.
Yeah, thank you. Very quickly, chat, maybe for like 30 or seconds or less. Do you have anything to add about the fitness level that you need to climb these?
Well, altitude has no safe shortcut. You have to go slow and steady to keep healthy. Stay,
About how, yeah,
without
how to train as well. Yeah.
Well,
Training.
the biggest training that you can do is try to walk at your local surrounding if you have hills around available. If it's not, do aerobic gym exercise. That is very important because bring your heart to a sustainable, the period of less oxygen area. So then how your body can prepare. So do gym training or walk to the local bush or the local the hillside surrounding, and obviously that helps you. But when you are here in trek, we take you slow and steady. So and we use Dimax for the precaution, so it should be fine.
Got it. Okay. Thank you so much.
Well, let me tell you, in my experience, I had done trekking. I had done trekking. Those who never had any experience about the hiking, trekking, who never had done any kind of the hard physical fitness. Those made it Everest Base Camp. All that depends on you. How I mean, it is not only about like a physical fitness. It is also about your mentally fitness also. If you are ready by mentally, you can do it without any physical fitness.
Good to know. Yeah, so it's so I think the answer is for a lot of people who might be beginners, it's still completely doable. That's good. All right. Well, 1 hour just flew by. This is a super this is a super informative chat. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you.
I really can't wait to travel again. For travel to open up so we can be outdoors again. And the intention for this chat is to be informational, for us to give you more information about how to plan. But at the same time, if you would like to support local guides who are extremely impacted by COVID-19 right now, as you heard, everybody is in lockdown and everybody's losing their income. If you would like to help, you could start planning now or start booking now. And Deepak and Chet are also guides, and they are on our website, so they can help you in case you want to take a head start with your planning. So Adventure Tripper, we are on Facebook, on Instagram, and our website as well. Both Deepak's and Chet's trips are actually live on our website, and you can get a lot more information about the routes, how the gear that you need, and all the preparation that you need to go for these trips. So check us out on the website. And yeah, thank you so much, Deepak and Chet, for joining us from Nepal at 7 a.m. in the morning.
It's a great session, and
yeah,
to have talked to everyone.
Yeah.
Stay safe.
Thank you so much, and drop us a message if you have any more questions, and we'll try to answer it as much as possible. Thank you, everyone.
No problem.
Hope this was helpful.
Yep. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Have a good day. If you have any questions, you can drop us an email or call us. So anytime we are available.
Yeah. We are available on the Adventure Tripper contacts.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everyone.
For this opportunity. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks.